I know, friends, you are in the last phase, last leg of your preparation towards the most important exam in your career, that is NEET PG. So I share with you a very high yielding session which is going to be very useful for your forthcoming exam, and the session is all formulae and latest values at one place from the subject of PSM. Hello friends, I am Dr. Vivek Jain, Faculty of Preventive and Social Medicine, that is Community Medicine. First of all, heartfelt thanks for liking so much the part 1 of this session. Friends, now I'll share with you part 2 of this session. The idea behind creation of this particular session has been, I have tried to utilize all important PSM formulae as well as latest data values available in different places. Idea is to help you consolidate your revision for this subject, because not just formula and values, I'll touch upon that topic in a comprehensive way in this session. This will help you not just improve and strengthen your memory, but will help you attempt each question correctly within the stipulated time period in the all important final exam. So friends, what are you waiting for? Let's go for this success. Let us start with demography. Two important basic indicators, CBR, CDR, crude birth rate, crude death rate. How do we calculate them? In both these formulae, denominator is same, that is mid-year population. What is mid-year population? Population taken on middle point of the year, that is 1st of July. Multiplier in both is same, that is 1000. Numerator, as the word is suggesting, crude birth rate is total number of births in a given population or geographic area in a year. Similarly, CDR, crude death rate, is total number of deaths recorded in a given geographical area or population in a year. Crude birth rate is a good measure of fertility. Crude death rate is crude because causes of death are not specified. Now CBR, CDR are measured in SRS, sample registration system of our country. When we look at the latest sample registration system report, then you must know crude birth rate of our country currently is 20 births per 1000 mid-year population, and crude death rate of our country is 6.2 deaths per 1000 mid-year population of our country. Now we look at three important demographic cum fertility indicators. These are TFR, GRR, NRR. First we look at total fertility rate, TFR. What is that? That is average number of children that are born to a woman in her entire reproductive lifespan, that is 15 to 49 years. This is also known as completed family size. In comparison, GRR, gross reproduction rate, this is average number of, please remember, girl children which are born to a woman in her entire reproductive lifespan. NRR is just like GRR. It is also average number of girl children born to a woman in her entire reproductive lifespan. So what is the difference between GRR and NRR? In NRR, we also take into account the mortality or death of girl children. So I'll again repeat, TFR is total children, GRR is girl children, NRR is girl children minus mortality. Out of these, NRR is most important. Demographic cum fertility indicator. When we look at TFR, In the last National Family Health Survey, for which all reports are available, that is NFHS 4, TFR was reported to be 2.2 for our country. Now, very recently, National Family Health Survey 5th round data has started releasing. Please remember, majority of them have already attained the 2.1 goal of TFR in our national population policy. Friends, please remember, whether it is GRR or it is NRR, it is approximately half of total fertility rate for a big population. And our overall long-term objective of population policy has been to achieve NRR 1. That will be replacement level. One dying woman is replaced by a newborn girl child. To achieve that, couple protection rate should be kept above minimum 60%. Now looking at a very popular, very commonly used population based demographic parameter which is asked many times in the form of definition, formula or latest value from the census of India, that is literacy rate. How do we calculate? As the name is telling you, numerator will be total number of literates in that particular geographical area. Denominator is total population. No, it's not total population. It is total population aged 7 years and above, and multiplier is 100. So numerator is a part of denominator, multiplier is 100. Literacy rate is not a rate, it's a misnomer. Actually, it is a proportion expressed always in percentage. When we look at census of India, literacy rate of India was 74% recorded in census 2011. Census 2021 has not yet taken place due to COVID-19. So you'll have to remember census 2011 values. This was found slightly higher in males, 82%, slightly lesser in females, 65%. When we look state-wise, it was recorded highest in Kerala, 94% literacy, lowest in Bihar, 64% literacy. Friends, here definition of literate used is a person who can read as well as write along with understanding. Any one language of our country is called as literate provided he is aged 7 years and above. Besides literacy, another important demographic parameter asked in similar details is sex ratio. Given by the formula, numerator is total number of females in the country. Mind you, this includes all age groups, each and every female in the country, divided by total number of males in the country at that time. Multiplier is 1000. All age groups are included in males also. Numerator is not a part of denominator. So sex ratio is a ratio which is expressed as a number. When we look at sex ratio recorded in the previous census 2011, it was found to be 943. It implies 943 females for every 1000 males. Highly unfavorable sex ratio. It was recorded highest for the state of Kerala, and among states Haryana was lowest. But overall, when you look at Union Territory, then highest was recorded for Puducherry and lowest was recorded for Daman and Diu. When we look at the total country, all states and Union Territories taken together, then please remember, as discussed in my app video, highest sex ratio in our country is from Kerala, 1084, and lowest in our country overall is from the Union Territory of Daman and Diu, 680. Please remember, child sex ratio utilizes same formula, total number of female children, total number of male children into 1000, but age group taken is 0 to 6 years. Child sex ratio of our country has been 919 female children 0 to 6 year per 1000 male children 0 to 6 years, highest recorded in the state of Mizoram, lowest recorded in the state of Haryana. Now, three other important formulae from the topic of demography. First is GFR, general fertility rate. How do we calculate that? General fertility rate, which is better than crude birth rate as a measure of fertility, is calculated by numerator being a unique one, total number of live births, and denominator is total number of women who are in reproductive age, and we take their mid-year population, multiplier is 1000. Recent most recorded value of general fertility rate for India was 77.6. One of the drawbacks of GFR has been not all women in the denominator are exposed to childbirth. CWR, child women ratio. It's not simply the ratio of total children and total women, rather specified age group is there. So numerator is total children who are in the age group 0 to 4 years divided by total women who are in reproductive age. So that will be 15 to 49 years of age, and multiplier is 1000. Then we look at DR, dependency ratio, also known as societal dependency ratio. Rather, it is economic dependency ratio. Why? Because numerator is comprised of non-earning population, that is population aged less than 15 years and those above 65 years, and they are dependent on denominator, that is earning population, where it is rest of the population which are expected to be in the earning bracket, that is 15 to 65 years of age. This particular indicator has got no multiplier. Please remember, below 15 years, when we look at that subgroup only, that is young age dependency ratio. When we look at those above 65 years only, that will indicate old age dependency ratio. Looking at the current dependency ratio of our country India, that is roughly around 48. It implies 48 non-earning people are dependent on 100 earning people for survival in India. Now friends, let us look at one place all the important values which are asked from the previous census, that is census 2011 of our country. Please remember, census 2021 has been postponed indefinitely due to existing COVID situation in our country. So from census 2011, what you definitely should know: population enumeration, which is done from 5th to 28th February in the census year. Census which takes place every 10 years. India's census stop day on which population count is given is 1st of March 00.00 hours. So when census stop was in 2011, 1st of March midnight, the population count was given to be close to 1210 millions overall. Literacy rate of our country we have just discussed, around 74%. Highest Kerala 94%, lowest Bihar 64%. Sex ratio 943 females per 1000 males, highest recorded from Kerala, that is 1084, lowest recorded from the Union Territory of Daman and Diu 618. Annual growth rate was calculated to be 1.64%, with decadal growth rate being 17.64%. Density of population was recorded to be 382 persons per square kilometer, highest from Delhi, lowest from Arunachal Pradesh. Similarly, friends, you must know the latest NFHS data, National Family Health Survey data. When we look at NFHS 5 values, they are not yet available fully. Only state-wise sheets are available for 22 states. Please remember, nationwide data compilation has not been done yet. So what we will do is, for your exam purpose, let us look at NFHS 4 values that you must know. TFR, total fertility rate, was recorded to be 2.2, which is now slowly approaching 2.1 in majority of states under NFHS 5. Children below 15 years account for a big 29% of our population, making our population pyramid upright triangle with a broad base and a narrow top. Full antenatal care was received by 21% of the mothers, whereas more than or equal to minimum 4 antenatal visits were received by 51% of the antenatal mothers. Institutional deliveries 79%, that is 4/5 of the antenatal mothers. A similar proportion 4/5, 81% got delivered through trained health personnel. Exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months was done by 55% of the women, and when we looked at immunization coverage in 12 to 23 months of age, that was reported to be complete by 3/5 or 62% of the population of that particular age. Among children, underweight was reported by 36%, wasting 21%, and stunting by 38% of total. Now moving to contraception and family planning component. We look at first definition of eligible couple. Who is a eligible couple? This is a currently married couple where the wife is in reproductive age for 15 to 49 years of age, and this is eligibility for approved and available contraceptive methods under RCH program, National Health Mission. The eligible couple rate of our country is currently 150 to 180 eligible couples for every 1,000 population. Using this eligible couple and other data available, we can calculate couple protection rate in our country. How many couples are protected against pregnancy? This is calculated by the formula. Numerator is total couples who are protected against pregnancy by one of the approved methods in the program. Denominator is total number of eligible couples in that particular area in that time, and multiplier is 100. Since it is a numerator part of denominator multiplier 100, couple protection rate is not a rate, it's a misnomer. It is a proportion which is always expressed as percentage. To achieve NRR 1, couple protection rate should be minimum 60%. When we look at the existing situation in our country, couple protection rate, which is now measured as contraceptive prevalence rate, is around 53.5%, and the unmet need in our country is 12.9% for family planning. So we first start with, how do you assess failure rate of a contraceptive? Besides life table analysis, we use Pearl index. How do we calculate? Formula of Pearl index is, numerator is total number of accidental gestation. Accidental gestation or accidental pregnancy means pregnancy which occurred despite using a contraceptive, so it's failure. Denominator, carefully please remember, is total months of exposure to that contraceptive, and this formula has a unique multiplier of 1200, so that we can express it, or we can express failure rate or Pearl index not as percentage but per 100 women years. Pearl index for male condoms 2 to 14 per 100 women years, female condoms 5 to 21 per 100 women years, vaginal sponge 9 to 20 per 100 women years, intrauterine device 1 to 5 per 100 women years, oral contraceptive pills 0.1 to 2 per 100 women years, and most effective method of contraception, sterilization, is less than or equal to 0.1 as per the studies conducted in India. Now friends, we come to today's session, one of the most frequently asked topics, that is MCH indicators, indicators used in maternal and child health, especially in RCH program of our country. So we first start with IMR, infant mortality rate. This is the most important indicator to assess health status of a country or a population. Availability, utilization and effectiveness of health services is measured by that, and it is also a predictor of state failure and health status overall. IMR is calculated as infant mortality. So numerator will be number of infant deaths. What is the definition of an infant? Age less than 1 year. So deaths among age less than 1 year in a country in a given year divided by total number of live births in that country that year, multiplier is 1000, numerator is a part of denominator, multiplier is 1000, so infant mortality rate is a rate. According to latest sample registration system report of our country, IMR of India is currently 32 infant deaths per 1000 live births in our country in a year. Its most common cause has been reported to be low birth weight and prematurity. Single most common cause, prematurity for infant deaths in our country. Neonatal mortality rate, NNMR, this is total number of neonatal deaths which are reported in a country in a given year. What is a neonate? Who is a neonate? Aged below 28 days. So 0 to 28 days of life, any death occurs during that time is a neonatal death. Denominator is again same, total number of live births in that country that year, and even the multiplier is same, that is 1000. Current neonatal mortality rate of India is 23 neonatal deaths for every 1000 live births in our country. Friends, what is the best indicator to assess social development of a country? That is U5MR, under 5 mortality rate. How do we calculate it? Numerator, as the word is telling you, total number of under 5 deaths, deaths below 5 year of age. Denominator is again same, total number of live births, and multiplier is again same, 1000. Friends, please remember, under 5 mortality rate of India currently is around 34. Whether it is IMR, NNMR or U5MR, for all the three important indicators, most common cause is same, low birth weight and prematurity, out of which prematurity is the single most common cause. Now we look at the best indicator of maternal care, maternal mortality rate. Numerator is total number of maternal deaths. Who is a maternal death? Death anytime in pregnancy, death any time during labor delivery process, or death within 42 days of delivery also is included in this maternal death. Denominator is again same. Just like any other MCH indicator, it is again total live births. But here multiplier is not 1000, rather here the multiplier is 1 lakh. This is actually a type of ratio because numerator is not a part of denominator, and as per latest SRS report, current MMR of our country is 113 maternal deaths for every 1 lakh live births in our country. Highest reported from Assam and lowest reported from the state of Kerala. Most common direct cause of MMR is PPH, postpartum hemorrhage. Most common indirect cause of MMR in India is anemia. Overall, most common cause of MMR is postpartum hemorrhage. What is the best indicator of combined maternal and newborn care? A very common question. That is PNMR, perinatal mortality rate. How do we calculate? As the name is telling you, total number of perinatal death is the numerator. What is a perinatal death? Which occurs in perinatal period. What is a perinatal period? 28 weeks period of gestation till 7 days after delivery. Denominator is again same, total number of live births, and multiplier is again 1000. Current perinatal mortality rate of India is around 22 perinatal deaths for every 1000 live births. When we look at SBR, stillbirth rate, it is calculated as total number of stillbirths who is taken as stillbirth in our country, who has period of gestation more than 28 weeks, or birth weight more than 1000 grams, or birth length more than 35 centimeters, and is a born, dead, or stillbirth. That is taken in numerator. Denominator is again total number of live births. Like IMR, NNMR, under 5 mortality rate. Even perinatal mortality rate reports low birth weight prematurity as the most common cause. But when you look at stillbirth rate, maternal infections, abruptio placentae are the most common cause, and its value reported is 21 stillbirths for every 1000 live births in our country. Now friends, recently nutrition guidelines have been revised. Please remember, it is better still to remember the older guidelines more and just give a reading of the new guidelines. Both you will have to remember. New guidelines have not yet appeared in the textbook, but you have to go through them once. So let's look at the changes that are important for you to remember from this particular topic. Weight of reference Indian man is now taken as 65 kilogram, and for reference Indian woman it is 55 kilogram. Protein intake is still recommended to be 0.83 gram per kg per day. Energy requirement for man has been for sedentary level activity, moderate level activity, heavy level activity, respectively 2100, this is in kilocalories per day for sedentary level, 2700 kilocalories for moderate level worker, and 3500 kilocalories for heavy level activity male worker. Corresponding values for women: 1700 kilocalories for sedentary level activity, 2100 kilocalories per day for a moderate level activity, and 2700 kilocalories per day for a heavy level activity female worker. Pregnancy no change, 350 kilocalories per day additional. Lactation again no change, 600 kilocalories per day additional in first half of lactation, 520 kilocalories per day in second half of lactation additional. Infants 0 to 6 months, 550 total kilocalories per day. In second half of infancy 6 to 12 months, 670 kilocalories per day. Now looking at some important nutrients whose recommended dietary allowance RDA is asked from your exam for different vulnerable groups. Iron intake RDA suggested, which is measured in milligram per day, for an adult man is 19 milligram per day, for an adult woman is 29 milligram per day. During pregnancy, it increases to 40 milligram per day. Therefore, we give iron folic acid supplementation in pregnancy as well as lactation. And lactation also, it stays up to 23 milligram per day. When we look at folic acid requirement, folic acid micrograms per day requirement is 300 micrograms per day for males, 220 for females. In pregnancy, it increases to 570, and in lactation, it is 330 micrograms per day. When we look at calcium requirement, it is 1000 milligram per day for males, females. Even during pregnancy, it remains same. But in lactation, it increases to 1200 milligram per day. This calcium requirement of infants is only 300 milligram per day. When we look at vitamin A, which is measured as retinol requirement in microgram per day, for adult man is 1000 microgram of retinol equivalent. It reduces for females to 840, which increases in pregnancy to 900 and further increase in lactation to 950 micrograms per day. For infants, this vitamin A requirement is only 350 microgram per day of retinol equivalent. Vitamin D requirement, which is measured in international units per day, is uniform. 600 international units per day for man, adult woman, pregnancy, as well as lactation. In infants, the requirement is 400 international units per day. When we look at iodine requirement measured in microgram per day, it is unchanged. For adult man, woman, it is 150 microgram per day. During pregnancy, it increases to 250 microgram per day, which further increase in lactation to 280 microgram per day. From social sciences and psychology, one of the frequently asked formula is that for intelligence quotient, IQ level. How do we calculate that? Under Stern's IQ test, we calculate IQ level as numerator, the mental age of the child. Why I am saying child? Because this formula is usable up till the age of 15 years, divided by the actual chronological age of the child. Numerator mental age you can assess by IQ test. Denominator chronological age can be assessed by date of birth. If not available, then bony X-rays for ossification centers could be utilized. And multiplier is 100. And the value we get is expressed as IQ points. When we look at Wechsler adult intelligence scale, then normal IQ is taken as 90 to 109. But when you start from the lowest category, idiot is 0 to 24 IQ points, imbecile is 25 to 49 IQ, moron is 50 to 69 IQ, borderline 70 to 79 IQ, low normal 80 to 89 IQ, 90 to 109 normal IQ, then higher categories, superior 110 to 119, then very superior 120 to 139, and the highest category 140 and above IQ is near genius. From the topic of environment, a formula based calculation is asked. When you are asked what will be the total bleaching powder dose required, and you are given some parameters to calculate using Horrocks apparatus for a given water body. So friends, what is the formula? Formula is N into 2 grams of bleaching powder is required to disinfect how much water? 455 liters of water. Where what is N? If you look at Horrocks apparatus, it has 6 white cups, 1 black cup. In black cup, we make indicator solution of starch iodide. Then we add drops to the 6 cups in which already pre-filled water sample is there. If color change happens in a particular cup, that number cup is N. So N is first cup, that is number of the first cup to show color change. Take an example. 6 cups are kept one after the other, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If third cup is the first cup to show color change, then N is 3. N into 2, 3 into 2, then 6 grams of bleaching powder can disinfect 455 liters of this water. When we look at occupational health, there have been some changes in the ESI guidelines, especially the benefits and the contribution. Friends, what is ESI? Employees State Insurance Act 1948. Please remember, who is a beneficiary under this act? Any person who has an income less than 21,000 rupees per month. This cutoff is less than 25,000 per month if this is a person with disability. Now, when we look at different types of benefits under ESI Act of India currently, these include sickness benefit. This is given at 70% wages for a total duration of, very popular question, 3 months or 91 days. Extended sickness benefit is given for a list of 34 diseases, that is given at 80% wages for 2 years. Enhanced sickness benefit is promotion of sterilization campaign in our country, where the person who undergoes sterilization gets 100% of wages for 7 days if it is a male that is undergoing vasectomy, and up to 14 days if she is a female undergoing tubectomy under the program. Temporary disablement benefit is given at 90% of the wages. Permanent disablement benefit is also 90% wages. Temporary is still recovery. Permanent is as worked out by a medical board on a monthly basis. Similarly, dependents benefit is also 90% wages on a monthly basis. When we look at funeral expenses, it has been fixed at 15,000 rupees. Friends, please remember there has been a recent change in the contribution to ESI, which is under Ministry of Labour, both from employer and employee. When we look at employer, now he has to contribute 3.25% of the wages, whereas employee contributes 0.75% of his wages. State contributes 1/8 of the total, rest is contributed by the center. Minister of Labour, Union Minister of Labour, is the chairperson of ESI Corporation. It is not applicable on defence, mines and railways. Looking at the latest data available for rural health statistics for the year 2020, total subcenters functioning in our country are over 1,57,000. Total functioning PHCs, primary health centers in our country, this you must know, is now close to 30,000. Community health centers are above 5,000 and first referral units are above 1,300. When we look at health and wellness centers in our country, they are now around 38,595, out of which 18,000 are subcenters and 19,000 are PHCs who have been converted to health and wellness center under Ayushman Bharat program. We have 2.12 lakh auxiliary nurse midwife in our country and 10.33 lakh ASHA workers under National Rural Health Mission. Finally, coming to the topic from which maximum formulae definitions are asked, that is biostatistics. We first start with the three important measures of central tendency: mean, median, mode. Mean or average is calculated as total sum of all the observations divided by total number of observations. Median is middle value in ascending order or descending order of distribution. If n is odd, how do we calculate median? Median is n plus 1 by 2th value in ascending order. But if n is even, then we take average of two middle values. And what will be two middle values in ascending order? N by 2th value, along with that n by 2 plus 1th value. These two values in ascending order, we take their average, that is median. And what is mode? Mode is most common or most frequent or most repeated value in a data distribution. Please remember, mean is most simple to calculate, most accurate, as well as most commonly used measure of central tendency. But in case outliers are present, median and mode are better measures of central tendency. Mean is maximum affected by outliers, whereas mode is least affected by outliers. Median is better than mode in cases of outliers. For bimodal series, there is a mathematical relationship between three measures of central tendency. That is, mode is thrice median minus twice mean. Now we look at statistical errors. What is type 1 error? Type 1 error is when null hypothesis is actually true, but based on our study results, we reject this null hypothesis. Or in other words, we declare a significant difference when actually it is not present. How do you measure type 1 error? It is measured by p-value. What is p-value? P is probability of type 1 error. What is alpha? Alpha is maximum threshold of type 1 error. Although we can keep anything to be alpha, but globally accepted value of alpha is 5%. For statistically significant results, your p should be less than alpha, or p should be less than 5% or 0.05. This is known as statistical significant result if p is less than 0.05. Also remember, 1 minus alpha gives you confidence level. Now this is type 1 error, which is more serious, but less serious similar error is type 2 error, which is when null hypothesis is in reality false, but based on our study results, it is accepted. Or I can say probability of not declaring a significant difference when it is actually present. And probability of this type 2 error is given by beta. So beta is probability of type 2 error. Remember, I'll tell again, type 1 error is more serious. P is more important than beta. So try to keep your P below alpha. Try to keep your P below 0.05. Results will become statistically significant. Power of a test. This is given by 1 minus beta. Or I can say probability of rejecting a null hypothesis when difference is present. PAR actually measures sensitivity. Now there are three ways in which you can increase the power of a study. Number one, increase the sample size. Number two, increase the sensitivity. Or number three, decrease the beta. What is confidence level? Confidence level is defined as degree of assurance. And what is this assurance for? That an interval contains a certain value of parameter. Confidence level can be calculated by 1 minus alpha. Globally accepted value of alpha is 5%, 0.05. 1 minus 0.05, that becomes 0.95 or 95%. So for statistically significant results, confidence level should be minimum 95%. Friends, kindly go through this topic in detail from my mobile video lecture app. Various topics given in explicit detail along with multiple examples and calculations in the topic of biostatistics and health. Let us move forward. Dispersion is measured by multiple parameters. But what is the most common measure of dispersion, most commonly used measure of dispersion? That is SD, standard deviation, which is given by the symbol sigma. What is standard deviation? It is measured as RMSD, that is root of mean of squares of deviations. So in a given distribution, you first square the deviations, take its mean, take its under root. Root mean square deviation is popularly known as standard deviation. Standard deviation can be calculated as under root of variance or under root of, you square the deviations from the mean value, take its mean and then take its under root. Root mean squared deviation. Standard deviation is for a single value. Now we look at standard error, which is actually a comparison between a sample versus population parameter. Standard error of mean, which is actually standard deviation of sample mean, is given by the formula standard deviation by under root of sample size, or I can say sigma by under root of n. Inverse of this is precision for that particular sample. If you look at standard error of difference between two means, you can extend this formula. Sigma 1 square by n1, that is square of standard deviation of first sample divided by sample size of the first sample, plus square of standard deviation of the second sample divided by its sample size whole under the root. Standard error of proportion is given by the formula under root of PQ by N, where Q is always 1 minus P. And if you are asked standard error of difference between two proportions, extend this formula under root P1 Q1 by N1 plus P2 Q2 by N2. Then we look at normal distribution, also known as standard or Gaussian distribution. Very peculiar questions and calculations are asked based on its properties as well as some formulae. So let's quickly go through that. Normal distribution, how does it look like? What is the shape of a normal distribution curve? It is a bilaterally symmetrical bell-shaped curve. Here, please remember mean, median and mode. All three measures of central tendency coincide, they are equal, and based on three formulae and even more, you can calculate dispersion also. What are these? Mean plus minus. One standard deviation covers 68.3% values in a distribution. Similarly, mean plus minus 2 standard deviation covers 95% of values in a distribution normal, and mean plus minus 3 standard deviation covers 99.7% values in a normal distribution. Please remember, in a normal distribution, if you take mean to be 0, mean is mu, then standard deviation sigma becomes 1. When distribution is not normal, it is skewed to one side. Skewed distribution could be of two types. One is like this, known as right skew or positively skewed distribution. What is the relationship of central tendency in this? In a right or a positively skewed curve, mean is greater than median is greater than mode. This second curve is a left or a negatively skewed curve. And what is the relationship of central tendency in left or a negatively skewed curve? Mean is less than median less than mode. For more examples, especially from the application part in national health programs, kindly go through this topic from biostatistics and health topic in the video lecture of my app. What is probability? Friends, probability is chance of occurrence of an event. Probability lies between 0 to plus 1, or I can say 0 to 100%. There are two rules in probability you must know. First is rule of addition, that is total probability is sum of all probabilities. When is this rule used? When you have two mutually exclusive events or two mutually exclusive aspects of a single event. And when do we use rule of multiplication? Rule of multiplication is when total probability is obtained by the product of individual probability of the events. And when is rule of multiplication of probability applied? When there are two or more independent events and we are asked their joint probability. Friends, to understand this concept, you have to practice questions from my mobile app or from any other source you are using. Then only you will understand this concept of addition, when should be applied, multiplication, when it should be applied. Now, what is odds? Odds means chances. It is actually telling you chances of occurrence of an event versus its non-occurrence. Now, there is a relationship between probability and odds that you must remember. Odds can be calculated by the formula probability upon 1 minus probability, or I can say the other way around. Probability can be calculated by the formula odds divided by 1 plus odds. Now friends, statistical tests of significance are of multiple types: parametric, non-parametric. Among that, chi-square test is most frequently asked. What is chi-square test? It is a non-parametric test which is used generally for qualitative data. And how do you assess in the exam? Look at examples from a mobile app. We rely upon when you have to compare two or more groups with qualitative data in form of percentage, proportion or fractions. Chi-square formula is summation of O minus E square divided by E, where O is the observed value, E is the expected value. For a 2 by 2 table, degree of freedom 1, value of chi-square is 3.84. So that is used as a benchmark for a 2 by 2 table study where we have to reject or accept a null hypothesis and give our results. Now, how do we calculate degree of freedom? And what exactly is degree of freedom? Degree of freedom represents number of observations in a data set that can vary once the parameters are set. Now, degree of freedom can be calculated by the formula C minus 1 into R minus 1. Number of columns in the table minus 1 into number of rows minus 1. If it is one sample data, let's say paired type of data, then we can use the formula total sample size minus 1. If it is a two sample data, let's say like unpaired data, then sample size 1 plus sample size 2 minus 1 also gives you degree of freedom. So there are three different formulae for degrees of freedom. Friends, with this we come to the end of this particular session. I know you are working very hard for the upcoming examination. Please do not lose your focus. Just keep on studying, keep on revising. Just remember what effort you have been putting since last so many months and years. So friends, just go out and conquer the exam. From my side, I wish you all the best. Do well, stay safe, stay healthy. Friends, also kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel of mine. I will be sharing many such videos on a regular basis. Best of luck.